The courthouse steps in Fairfax, Virginia, June 1st, 2022. A crowd of supporters cheers as Johnny Depp emerges victorious from the most publicized defamation trial in recent memory. The jury has awarded him $10 million. His reputation, they've declared, has been restored. But as the cameras flash and the crowd celebrate, something darker settles in Johnny's eyes. Something that victory speeches and legal vindication cannot touch. He smiles for the cameras, waves to supporters, speaks about justice and truth. But behind the practiced expressions, his mind is calculating, planning.
6 years.
6 years of canceled projects, lost roles, public humiliation. 6 years of watching his name become synonymous with domestic violence, while the truth sat locked in courtrooms. The legal system has declared him innocent, but Hollywood is a different kind of court entirely. That evening, in his hotel suite overlooking the Potomac River, Johnny sits alone with a bottle of wine that costs more than most people's cars. The television broadcasts endless coverage of his legal victory, talking heads declaring his comeback. He turns off the sound. In the silence, he can hear something that celebrations cannot drown out, the echo of 6 years. 6 years of watching movies he should have been in, seeing roles that should have been his. The legal system has declared him innocent, but legal innocence and professional restoration are very different things. Johnny pours another glass of wine and opens his laptop. Within minutes, he's scrolling through industry websites, social media posts, casting announcements. The pattern becomes clear quickly. While the world celebrates his legal victory, the entertainment industry moves forward without him. Studios that rushed to distance themselves from him are now issuing carefully worded statements about complex situations and moving forward positively. But the new projects, the big budgets, the starring roles, they're going to other actors, younger faces, safer bets, people who never had to spend 6 years proving their innocence in a court of law. Legal victory, Johnny murmurs to the empty room, is not the same as justice. He closes the laptop and walks to the window. Below, Washington, D.C. spreads out like a monument to the idea that systems work, that truth prevails, that good people are rewarded and bad people are punished. But Johnny has learned a different lesson, that systems protect themselves first, and individuals second. That night, he makes a decision that will change everything. Not a decision to return to acting, not a decision to rebuild his career, not a decision to move forward and let bygones be bygones. A decision to make sure that what happened to him never happens to anyone else, and to make sure that the people who allowed it to happen face consequences that no legal system would ever impose. Johnny Depp, Academy Award-nominated actor, becomes something else entirely. He becomes Hollywood's reckoning. The first step is research. Johnny has always been methodical, whether preparing for a role or learning a new skill. Now he applies that same intensity to something darker, understanding exactly how the entertainment industry works, who holds real power, and how careers are actually built and destroyed. He spends months in libraries, online databases, interviewing former studio executives, agents, publicists. He learns about the shadow networks that determine who gets hired and who gets blacklisted, the informal conversations that happen in restaurants and private clubs, where reputations are constructed and demolished without due process. Within a year, Johnny has compiled a comprehensive map of Hollywood's pressure points, not just the public figures, but the real power brokers. The people who decide which projects get greenlit, which actors get second chances, which scandals get buried, and which ones get amplified. He also learned something else. He's not the only one. Hollywood is full of actors, writers, directors who've been destroyed by whisper campaigns, false accusations, political disagreements, or simple bad timing. People whose careers ended not because they lacked talent, but because they crossed the wrong person. Johnny begins reaching out to these people, quietly, carefully, building a network of individuals who understand that the entertainment industry's public face of glamour masks something much more ruthless. These conversations are revelatory. Johnny discovers that his 6-year ordeal, while uniquely public, follows patterns that have destroyed countless other careers. But he also discovers something his accusers never anticipated, that every destroyed career creates someone with nothing left to lose. By 2024, Johnny has transformed himself into something unprecedented in Hollywood history, a professional reputation destroyer who works exclusively for the industry's victims. His methods are sophisticated, untraceable, and devastatingly effective. He doesn't use violence or illegal activities. Instead, he uses the entertainment industry's own weapons against itself: whisper campaigns, strategic leaks, carefully timed revelations, and the kind of social media manipulation that can make or break careers in the modern world. A producer who buried assault allegations against the director by bribing victims suddenly finds his own financial improprieties exposed to the IRS and entertainment media. An agent who blacklisted actors for political reasons discovers that private emails detailing his discriminatory practices have found their way to industry publications and civil rights organizations. Johnny's targets aren't random. They're people who have used their power to destroy innocent careers, who have weaponized the industry's informal justice system for personal gain, who have created the culture that allowed his own 6-year ordeal to happen. He operates from a converted warehouse in New Orleans, far from Hollywood's watchful eyes. The space looks like a cross between an artist's studio and a private intelligence office. Walls covered with photographs, timelines, connection charts, mapping relationships between industry power players. Multiple computer monitors displaying social media feeds, industry publications, financial records. The warehouse contains physical files on every major player in Hollywood, not just their public information, but private details that could be used for leverage. Financial troubles, secret relationships, hidden addictions, buried legal problems. Johnny works alone most of the time, but he has a network of informants throughout Hollywood, assistants who have been mistreated by powerful bosses, actors who have been sexually harassed by directors, writers whose ideas have been stolen by producers, people who understand that official channels for justice are inadequate for the crimes that happen in plain sight. Johnny's methods have evolved since his early attempts at revenge. Now he operates with the precision of a surgeon and the patience of someone who understands that the best revenge is served in a way that appears completely unrelated to its source. A typical operation unfolds over months. Johnny identifies a target who has used their power to destroy innocent careers. Then comes research, compiling a comprehensive dossier on vulnerabilities, relationships, secrets. The actual destruction is always indirect, strategic leaks, whisper campaigns, carefully timed revelations that make the target appear untrustworthy. The key is making each event appear natural and unconnected. The work consumes him in a way that acting never did. There's something pure about it, something that connects to a sense of justice that goes deeper than entertainment or fame. Every career he destroys belongs to someone who destroyed other careers first. Every reputation he ruins belongs to someone who built their success on the ruins of other people's dreams. But the work also isolates him. Johnny can't maintain normal relationships when his entire life is built around secret investigations and covert operations. He can't trust anyone completely because anyone might be connected to someone he's investigating. He can't even enjoy his old movies because they remind him of the naive person he used to be, someone who believed that talent and hard work were enough, someone who thought that good people were protected by good systems. By 2025, Johnny's reputation in certain circles is legendary. Actors who've been wronged seek him out through encrypted communications and coded messages. Industry insiders whisper about the Fairfax Ghost, a reference to the courthouse where his transformation began, who can end careers with surgical precision while leaving no fingerprints. But there's one target he saved for last, one person whose destruction he's planned with the obsessive attention to detail that he once brought to creating characters like Jack Sparrow or Edward Scissorhands, Amber Heard. Not because he still loves her, not because he still hates her, but because she represents something larger, the idea that you can destroy someone's life with false accusations, face minimal consequences when the truth emerges, and continue living as if nothing happened. Amber's career has struggled since the trial, but she's still working, still appearing in films, still maintaining a public presence. She's given interviews about moving forward and learning from difficult experiences, carefully crafted statements that acknowledge no real wrongdoing while positioning herself as someone who's grown from adversity. For Johnny, this is unacceptable. Not just because of what she did to him personally, but because of what her continued success says to other potential false accusers. The message that there are no real consequences, that a few years of reduced work opportunities is an acceptable price for destroying someone's reputation and career. Johnny's plan for Amber is different from his other targets. More personal, more comprehensive, more devastating. He spent 3 years documenting every aspect of her life since the trial, her relationships, her financial situation, her career moves, her public statements. Every interview, every social media post, every public appearance has been cataloged and analyzed for inconsistencies and vulnerabilities. He's identified every contradiction in her narrative, every person who might be willing to speak against her, every vulnerability in her carefully constructed post-trial image. Former friends who've grown tired of her victim narrative, industry professionals who've worked with her and witnessed behavior that contradicts her public persona, financial advisors who understand the precarious nature of her economic situation. The plan involves multiple phases, each designed to recreate the experience she put him through, but compressed into a timeline that will allow no recovery or counterattack. First, whisper campaigns questioning her honesty and reliability, planted through his network of industry informants. Then, strategic leaks of information that contradicts her public statements, recordings, emails, witness statements that have been carefully verified and timed for maximum impact. Finally, a coordinated revelation of evidence that will destroy her credibility, so thoroughly that no studio, director, publicist, or even streaming platform will ever work with her again. The evidence isn't fabricated. Johnny learned long ago that the truth, properly presented and timed, is far more destructive than any lie. Johnny has learned that revenge is a dish best served methodically, not hot with passion, not cold with time, but with the precise temperature that causes maximum damage while leaving the victim unable to identify the source of their destruction or mount any effective defense. He sits in his New Orleans headquarters surrounded by the evidence of 3 years' work, preparing to implement the final phase of his plan. On his desk sits a photograph from happier times, him and Amber on a red carpet. Both smiling, both beautiful, both unaware of how completely they would destroy each other. But next to that photograph sits something else, a list of 17 other actors, directors and producers whose careers have been ruined by false accusations, industry politics, or simple bad luck. People who reached out to Johnny after hearing whispers about what he could do. People who are still waiting for their own justice. Johnny realizes that his war with Amber was never just about Amber. She was the catalyst, but not the endpoint. The real war is against a system that allows powerful people to destroy innocent lives without consequences. A system that protects itself by sacrificing individuals when convenient. Tomorrow, Amber's career will begin its final collapse. But the day after tomorrow, Johnny will begin working on his next target. And the day after that, another one. Because justice, real justice, isn't something you achieve once. It's something you practice every day, one destroyed reputation at a time. The courthouse steps in Fairfax seem very far away now. The cheering crowds, the legal victory, the sense that the system had finally worked. All of it feels like a different lifetime. Johnny Depp, the actor, died in that courthouse. What emerged was something much more dangerous and much more necessary. A ghost who haunts the dreams of people who think they can hurt others without consequences. A reminder that in Hollywood, as everywhere else, there's always someone watching, always someone keeping score, always someone who believes that justice delayed is justice denied. The wine bottle sits empty on his desk. Outside, New Orleans sleeps, unaware that one of its residents is about to reshape the power structure of American entertainment. Not through movies or performances or red carpet appearances, but through the kind of careful, methodical destruction that leaves no room for appeal or comeback. Johnny picks up his phone and begins typing the message that will end Amber Heard's career. A simple code that will trigger a coordinated campaign across multiple platforms, multiple sources, multiple revelations. By tomorrow evening, her name will be trending on social media for all the wrong reasons. By the end of the week, every industry professional will be distancing themselves from her. By the end of the month, she'll be unemployable in Hollywood. But first, he pauses to look at the list of names on his desk, all the other people who are waiting for their turn at justice. Actors who've been sexually assaulted by producers and silenced by NDAs. Directors who've had their projects stolen by studio executives. Writers who've been blacklisted for refusing to compromise their principles. The list has grown longer since he began this work. Word spreads quietly through Hollywood's underground networks. If you've been wronged by someone with power, if the official systems have failed you, if you need someone destroyed professionally but can't do it yourself, there's a ghost in New Orleans who might be able to help. Johnny understands now that his transformation was inevitable. The legal victory in Fairfax didn't end his story. It began a new chapter, a chapter where he stopped being a victim and became something much more powerful and much more dangerous. Justice, he's learned, is not something that happens to you. It's something you make happen. One reputation at a time, one destroyed career at a time, one perfectly orchestrated downfall at a time. The ghost of Fairfax has work to do. Tomorrow, Amber. Next month, the producer who's been covering up assaults for decades. Next year, the studio executive who's been stealing projects and destroying careers with impunity. And for the first time since that day on the courthouse steps, Johnny Depp smiles with genuine satisfaction. Not the satisfied smile of an actor who has delivered a good performance, but the satisfied smile of someone who's found their true calling, their real purpose in a world that tried to destroy them. Hollywood created a monster when it refused to protect Johnny Depp. Now that monster protects everyone else, one destroyed reputation at a time. The only question remaining is whether the industry will ever realize what it's created, or whether it will simply continue wondering why certain careers end so suddenly, so completely, and so mysteriously. But by then, of course, it will be far too late.